Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kicks and Cup podcast, a podcast that unites checkered flags and offside flags. Today's episode might be a little controversial one, considering the thing I will be talking about is the recent controversy about Jamie Carragher and AFCON and it not being a major tournament. So, for those who missed, because I also missed it, I haven't been able to see any videos of it. Maybe because of the way it has blown up, Sky decided to take down those parts of the video. But this is what I found on the BBC article that gave the quotes from Jamie and his co panelist. So the talk was after the Liverpool Manchester City match, where Salah and Dominic Szoboszlai both got a goal and an assist and registered a 2-0 win over Manchester City. And soon the conversation turned to whether or not Salah will win the Ballon d'Or this year. Ballon d'Or is an annual individual award given to the best player in the world, voted by an international panel of over 100 journalists, each from the top 100 ranked FIFA member nations. Now, the former Liverpool defender Carragher suggested Salah would have to win the Champions League in order to win the Ballon d'Or because AFCON is not recognized by voters as a major tournament. He added, I think the problem is the fact he's with Egypt and he's probably not playing in the major tournament as such, or maybe got a great chance of winning. I think it's either the Champions League or the major tournament, normally the player who excels in that. Carragher's repeated use of the term major tournament irked fellow pundits Micah Richards and Daniel Sturridge. Micah Richards stressed AFCON was a major tournament, saying a lot of people are at home saying they aren't taking it seriously. AFCON is a big tournament. Former Liverpool striker Sturridge said it is a fact. If you win the Euros or Copa America, it's deemed to be big. So the AFCON is at the same level. And Carragher responded, Egypt are not going to win the World Cup, are they? And when Richards tried to explain, he cut him off and said, Oh God. Clips of the exchange were shared widely and everything. On Monday, Carragher attempted to clarify his comments on X, saying Salah was at a disadvantage playing for Egypt in terms of him winning the Ballon d'Or. If Salah had an average season at LFC but won the AFCON and was MVP, most valuable player, I don't think he would win the Ballon d'Or because I don't think AFCON carries the weight of other tournaments. But if Mbappe had an average season at Real Madrid but won the World Cup or Euros, he would still have a great opportunity. Now, I do think that Jamie Carragher was just digging himself up into a deeper, even deeper hole. This is not in any way me justifying Jamie's stance on AFCON, but he did not need to mention it at all. Like, at all. Since there is no AFCON this year, it has no bearing on Salah's chances of winning the Ballon d'Or. As for his opinion, the fact that he set Kylian Mbappe with a similar achievement in a season where he has the opportunity to play for an international tournament in the football calendar will have a better chance than Mohamed Salah with similar achievements in AFCON, and refusing to see the problem with that is what I think has rightfully sparked this controversy. Now, to me, the whole thing is simple in the sense that if European and South American players have the Euros and Copa America respectively, for African players, that tournament is AFCON and therefore should carry similar importance. And the more I have seen the discourse around this, I can gather that there are divided opinions over three aspects of this tournament, and I wanted to dive a little bit deeper on it. The first was the frequency, the second was the scheduling, and then the third was the quality of the tournament. So let's dive into the first part. Why does AFCON happen every 2 years instead of four like the Euros and Copa America? Simple answer is money. The tournament is primary revenue source for Confederation of African Football, CAF. There were talks by FIFA president to make the tournament every 4 years. This is his quotes. He stated that if AFCON generates 20 times less than Euros, having it every 2 years is that good at the commercial level? Has this developed infrastructure? Think about spending every 4 years. I think it is time to stop talking about the development of African football and take actions. No African team has won the World Cup, and there is an impression Africa is going backwards. And a year later, the president of CAF, referring to the comments that the FIFA president made, said that this is one area where there are different views among different people, and that he has no doubt that it has to be every 2 years. Now, I do not know how much AFCON generates as a revenue and how much of it is being put back correctly on the ground, on the grassroots levels for development of African football. But it has provided a lot of opportunities for players to get recognized on an international scale. Samuel Eto'o, discovered by Real Madrid at the Kaji Sports Academy in Cameroon. Sadio Mane played in Dakar and was then discovered. Didier Drogba had an uncle in France, and that is how he was discovered. Salah was discovered by Swiss club Basel. Yaya Toure discovered by Jean-Marc Guillot, a former French footballer who was developing a training center in Abidjan. There are literally so many examples of African players who have got their break, who caught the eyes of the scouts or European teams because of football infrastructure. However, it might be in the eyes of the FIFA president, but they got their break because of the existing and hopefully developing football infrastructure present in the continent. So if FIFA cannot help AFCON maybe to generate more revenue, then that does not hamper the development and investment that CAF wants to do, I think the frequency should be fine. The second one is the scheduling. The fact that AFCON happens in December and January, the respective years that it is supposed to happen, it is surprising that this needs to be clarified, but largely it is because of the weather. It is hot as fuck in Africa during the summers, and it is closer to the equator. The stance that club achievements, primarily European, are more important than achievements with the national team is quite a problematic one to have. But these players are paid so much money by their clubs. Yes, they are. With, I am sure, full knowledge of their nationality, their stance, and availability for their national teams for AFCON. And if a club does not want to sign such players, it's on them. And like Liverpool did not let go of the performance that Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane brought to the club just because every other year they went to AFCON. And now we come to the third part, the quality. Now, we have plenty of examples of players of African descent, players who have dual citizenships, who have chosen to play for the European citizenship country rather than the African. Why? For some, they have grown up all their life in the countries that they represent. So while they do have the eligibility to play for their African heritage country, they still choose the place where they grew up and the place where they started their professional careers. A lot of these players may have been refugees or asylum seekers and wanted to give back to the country that gave them a second chance. Some of them might just be working in their own self interest, it being far more likely to get international laurels and achievements with European nations than with African nations. Does that maybe result also from the fact that AFCON is actually not considered a major tournament, in the famous words of Jamie Carragher? Because then it seems like a chicken and egg situation to me. AFCON does not have the quality because players don't want to play in a tournament that is not considered major, and therefore AFCON is not considered major because the tournament does not have quality. Now, I don't want to get into specific players and their decisions to choose whatever they chose for their own careers. They all get to have only one career, and they should be allowed to make decisions that serve them and their goals and aspirations in life, whatever they may be, and whether one agrees with it or not. What then, maybe you might wonder, is the point of this video? I think it is high time we start giving AFCON the respect it deserves. And maybe it starts when pundits who have a large platform when they go on a show on Sky could highlight or question as to why AFCON is not given its due, rather than reiterating that it is not a major tournament. When it is the equivalent of Euros and Copa America for players of African descent, it should hold same importance in terms of achievements in the tournament, irrespective of quality, which, let us be honest, is a very subjective measure for a tournament. There are football fans who like AFCON more than Euros and Copa, and vice versa. There will be fans who like Euros and Copa more than AFCON. Anyone who has been an athlete, anyone who grew up dreaming of being an athlete and aspired to one day represent their nation in the sport they chose, could understand how much it would mean to realize that dream. It should not matter the quality, the continent, or any other way that, like, people, fans, pundits, keyboard warriors on social media might try to downplay that it is always going to be an incredible achievement to have the honor to represent your nation, to bring laurels and attention to your nation on an international stage. If your club enjoys and benefits from players from Africa who go every other year to play AFCON, understand that it is because it means something to them. And while we are at it, let us extend the same to other championships as well: AFC, CONCACAF, and OFC. We do not need to have another controversy to come to the same realizations. If you are someone who agreed with Jamie Carragher and watching this video made you change your mind or introspect, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen and look at it from another perspective. Football has always been a very Eurocentric sport, and as much as we might not want to say it, there is inherent racism and discrimination that exists in the sport. There was literally a controversy when Harry Kane missed a penalty for England in the World Cup, and all big media houses in their articles used the pictures of Bukayo Saka and Marcus Rashford when they talked about England's exit from the World Cup. I am not saying that anyone who does not agree with this, my opinion on this, is a racist. I'm saying that our subconscious is a very powerful thing, and the way we consume media and content, particularly big media houses, they all have certain biases built into their reporting, and that does seem to affect our thinking. So keep questioning things. Even if you still arrive at the same conclusion that you initially had, there is benefit in looking at a thing from different perspectives or thinking critically about things. That's all I wanted to say on this controversy. Thank you for watching this episode. I will be live today for the Premier League action for Game Week 27. Please come and join us. Until then, bye.